and gentlemen, you are most welcome to the 13th Higher Education Exhibition. You are most welcome. We are going to start by taking you through what we call career guidance. And I'm going to start by asking you some few questions. This session is purely for students. It does not mean that your career masters and mistresses should not be here. They should also be here to listen, such that they will be able to offer the necessary guidance to your colleagues who could have remained behind. Allow me to call you ladies and gentlemen, but in most cases we call you students. I'm Dr. Godfrey Onyeit. I'm a professional teacher of chemistry and biology. I taught chemistry for over 20 years. Then I crossed to computer science. So we are going to share with you what you expect. But before we begin sharing, I would like to ask you this question. When you heard the news that you were coming for the 13th Higher Education Exhibition, what expectations did you have in mind? What do you expect out of this exhibition? Feel free and tell us, such that as we discuss, we shall be looking into your expectations. Feel free, raise up your hand and say, as I was coming, this is what I expect from this higher education exhibition. Feel free. Could it be you had no expectations? Oh, thank you. Somebody has a hand up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As representing my school, we expected exposure to different career options and universities.
Different career options, different institutions of higher learning. Thank you. So you will be able to see these different institutions that are recognized. The most important thing is identifying the recognized institutions. Outside there are very many institutions that are not recognized. If you happen to enroll to study in such institution, your qualification will never be recognized. You'd have wasted your money, you'd have wasted your time also with no qualification at the end. Another expectation from you, the students. Feel free, there is a hand there.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
As I was coming, I expected to acquire some knowledge. Since we are coming in an education exhibition, I expect to acquire knowledge. So as I was coming, I expect to acquire knowledge and also to meet some few friends and also to interact with a variety of people, because it's not going to be for an individual learning, but for a group of people. That's what I expected.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. She expects to acquire knowledge. She expects to meet friends. And indeed, you will be able to acquire that knowledge. You will be able to meet friends. Another expectation, feel free. Feel free. So can I assume that the rest of the members did not have any expectations? Yes. David, there is a... Okay.
As I was coming today,
yes,
I expect reassurance
Mm.
whether to shift my career path or to stay in what I'm taking.
Thank you. She has her career path. Her coming to this higher education exhibition is to see whether she should still remain in her career path or to shift. Thank you. Another expectation.
Good morning to you all.
Morning.
We are coming from Chivuli Secondary School.
Mm.
And my expectation while I was coming for this higher education institutions exhibition is to get the best guidance as far as career is concerned. Because I believe there are some of us here doing subjects, but then we believe that there are better careers than what we actually know that is just right in front of our eyes. So I believe that's why we came here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You have heard. I saw some hands behind there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
When I was coming to this higher education exhibition, I expected to find myself an answer to the path that I'm going to take after high school in campus.
Thank you. So you will be able to see the way to go.
When I was coming, I expected to find out more about my career and know if it's in line with my combination and my future university. Thank you.
Thank you. So can we turn to our presentation? We have captured your expectations. Okay, there's somebody who has a burning expectation that they want us to share.
Good morning. Well, when I was coming for the exhibition, I was expecting to find out if what I'm doing is actually in line with the course I'm trying, the career I'm chasing for, or if the career I'm pursuing is worth me chasing after it. Like sometimes most of us go for some things and we actually, since we are not really exposed and we've not had people talk to us, we do not know what I'm losing out if I do this course and I miss out on the other one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we now move on to our presentation? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a brief presentation on career guidance. I'm going to start by giving you an overview, the introduction. Are you able to see my screen, my slides on the two screens? The heading should be introduction. Is that what you are seeing? Introduction. Raise up your hands if you are seeing the slide with a heading introduction. Thank you. Introduction. The objectives of this presentation is A, to give students relevant information to, among others, inform career choice. Based on your expectations, this objective will be able to address some of your expectations. B, to give you guidance on what to look for, expect in the exhibition stalls. After this presentation, you are going to move around the stalls. These stalls belong to respective universities, respective institutions of higher learning. So when you reach there, you will be able to get the right questions to ask the members that you will meet in these stalls. What are your expectations? Some of the expectations that I came up with include A, to identify institutions that are recognized. What do we mean by institutions that are recognized? These are institutions that are licensed. Licensed in the sense that they have been granted permission to operate as a higher education institution. Now the question is, are there institutions that are not licensed? The answer is yes. There are illegal institutions that are operating in the streets, what we call briefcase institutions. When you get a qualification from such institution, that qualification will not be recognized. You would have wasted your time, you would have wasted your money. B, chartered, public, provisionally licensed institutions. When I talk of a chartered institution, a charter is a highest level of accreditation, which is normally applicable to universities, private universities, and private other degree awarding institutions. We also have public institutions. Those are government institutions. A good example is Makerere University, Chambogo University, Busitema University, Lira University, etc. Those are public universities. We also have provisionally licensed institutions. A good example is Uganda Christian University, Nkomba University, etc. Those are provisionally, those are chartered universities. Another example of a provisionally licensed institution is the YMCA. That is the provisional licensed institution. C, accredited programs. What do we mean by accredited programs? These are programs that National Council has granted institutions permission to run them. Now the question is, are there unaccredited programs? Unaccredited programs are there. If you happen to enroll in an unaccredited program, your qualification will never be recognized. So you should ensure that you enroll in accredited program. Towards the end of my presentation, I will be giving you contacts that you can use for ascertaining whether the program is accredited or not. D, opportunities for career path. We have different bodies that are exhibiting with us. When you interact with these different bodies, you will be able to realize the career path to take. Who are the target audience? Our target audience include A, ordinary level students, O-level students, those who have completed senior 4. When you complete senior 4 and you are not in a position to go to A level, you should not fall back and say, for me, I am finished. You still have room to continue with further studies. There are institutions that you can enroll in. B, advanced level students, A-level students. With the A-level students, in most cases, they are aiming at going to universities. They are aiming at going to institutions of higher learning. C, we have lifelong learners. Learning is a continuous process. If you happen to have got your certificate, it is up to you to decide to remain there. You can use that certificate to progress to diploma, diploma to degree, up to even PhD. You continue gradually. Those are what we term as the lifelong learners. D, those who may wish to change career. You see, like you can take business administration. After a certain time T, you find that you need to change your career. From there, you can identify that this is a new route for me to take, and you change your career. Those are the target audience. About National Council for Higher Education. How many of you have heard of National Council for Higher Education? Just raise up your hands if you have ever heard of National Council for Higher Education. You can look around and see. National Council for Higher Education is a government body that is mandated to regulate higher education in Uganda. It is a body that advises the government on matters pertaining higher education. For example, we give permission to higher education institutions to operate. We do the monitoring. And if we find that the institution is not meeting our standards, we close. Have you ever heard of some universities that have been closed? They are there. We have closed them. Next is give permission to higher education institutions to teach programs or courses of study. This is what we mean by accreditation. Giving an institution permission to teach a program. Next is set minimum standards for various programs. We do set minimum standards. For you to be admitted to this program, you must meet these requirements. And for the institution also to run the program, the institution must meet the following requirements. Next is equate qualifications from outside Ugandan education system. If you happen to have obtained a qualification, maybe from Kenya, Rwanda, in brief, outside the Ugandan education system, on coming, your qualification must be equated and recognized for you to get a job. Next, recognize local and foreign qualifications. That is the role of National Council for Higher Education. We come to categories of higher education institutions. We have 3 categories of higher education institutions. One, we have what we call universities, public and private. With the universities, they run from certificate to PhD, doctorate degrees in various fields. 2, we have other degree awarding institutions. Other degree awarding institutions run from certificate to doctorate levels in a specific field. A good example of other degree awarding institution is the Uganda Management Institute. It runs from certificate to doctorate level. 3, other tertiary institutions. When I talk of other tertiary institutions, these are institutions that run from certificate to diploma. A good example is the Uganda Institute of Information Technology, UICT, is a good example of other tertiary institutions. Mandates of various categories of higher education institutions. I've already explained this. Number of higher education institutions continued. Some of these have attended the 13th higher education institution exhibition, and others may have not yet turned up. In terms of universities, we have about 52, around 52 universities now. We shall be giving your career masters and mistresses a list of universities, other tertiary institutions, and the corresponding programs that they are running. B, never go to a university or a tertiary institution not recognized by National Council for Higher Education. NCSE will not recognize your qualification. As I mentioned earlier on, you would have wasted your time, would have wasted your money. A list of recognized institutions in Uganda shall be given to you. We have a book, a catalog of those recognized institutions. Program accreditation or approval. National Council for Higher Education is a body that gives permission to higher education institutions to run courses of study or programs. For example, University A may be recognized to offer medicine, but has no permission to offer law. So if you happen to enroll in a law program in such a university, your qualification will never be recognized. Note, a student always ensure, as a student, always ensure that the course of study stroke program you enroll into is recognized. It is your responsibility. As you move around the exhibition stalls or visit institutions, ask if the program or course of study you wish to pursue is approved. So that is one of the questions you are going to ask. Is this program accredited? Is it approved? General minimum admission requirements. When I talk of admission requirements, these are the requirements that will enable you be admitted to a particular institution for a particular course. 1, bachelor's or degree programs. For you to be admitted to pursue a degree program, you must have passed at least as he enters out. For a degree program, you must have passed 2 principal passes obtained at the same sitting at advanced level. You must have also got 5 passes at ordinary level. Are we together? Let me give this scenario. What happens to a student who may have got 3 passes but continued to go to A level and he gets a triple B or triple A? What happens to such a student? Does he or she qualify to be admitted? The answer is no. You did not meet the requirements for going to A level. For you to go to A level, you must have got 5 passes. Short of that, you don't qualify. B, a recognized diploma in a relevant field. When I talk of a recognized diploma, this is a diploma which has been accredited, mounted by a recognized institution. Note, if you do not have 5 passes at ordinary level, you do not qualify for a degree program. So you need to look at this carefully. A principal pass is either an A, B, a C, D, or an E. A subsidiary pass is an O. The general requirements for admission continued. Some programs have specific requirements. For example, engineering programs. For those of you who are aspiring to pursue engineering programs, you must pass mathematics and physics at both levels. For those of you who are aspiring to take a health-related field, for example, on medicine, nursing, midwifery, etc., you must pass biology and chemistry at both levels. Short of that, you do not qualify for that field. Admission requirements for diploma. A, Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education. You need 1 principal pass, 2 subsidiaries obtained at the same sitting, and at ordinary level, we need you to have got at least 5 passes. B, a recognized certificate in a relevant field. For certificate programs, at Uganda Certificate of Education, we need you to have obtained 3 passes obtained at the same sitting. We also have what we call mature age entry. And for you to qualify to be admitted through this avenue, you must be at least 25 years old. And you must have scored at least 50% and above from a recognized mature age entry center. We have 5 mature age entry centers. We have Makerere University in Central. We have IUIU Mbale in the east. We have Mbarara University of Science and Technology in the west. We have Gulu University in the north. Then we have Bugema University to cater for the Seventh-day Adventists. As you know very well, mature age entry exams are normally conducted on Saturday, which is a Sabbath for Seventh-day Adventists. So it puts them at a disadvantage. That is one of the reasons why we accredited Bugema University as a mature age center. Note, when you enroll into a program which you do not meet admission requirements, your qualification will not be recognized. Let me give a living example. You might be interested in pursuing Bachelor of Nursing Science. The entry requirements for Bachelor of Nursing Science are a principal pass in biology and chemistry in one sitting, with the 5 passes at ordinary level. And among those 5 passes, English, mathematics, biology, chemistry must be part of them. Should you, as a result of peer influence, you who has done MEG, mathematics, economics, geography, you have your principal passes in maybe mathematics and geography, then you also go and convince the institution that please allow me also do Bachelor of Nursing Science. And you are allowed to do. On completion, you will not be registered by Uganda Nurses and Midwives Council because you did not meet the entry requirements. It is like engineering program. Physics and mathematics are key. Short of that, you don't qualify. But should you find your way with your biology and chemistry, and you happen to enroll in any engineering program, Engineers Registration Board will never register you because you did not meet the admission requirements. Minimum duration of academic programs. When you enroll into these programs, you are not going to be there endlessly. It has a time frame. One, a degree program has a minimum duration of 3 years. 3 years. And if you enroll into a 3-year program, we put the maximum. You are allowed to be there for 5 years. Beyond that, you are deregistered. You have failed to finish. Note, bachelor's degrees in a health-related field have slightly longer period. 4 years, like medicine, 5 years. Bachelor's degrees in engineering also have slightly longer duration. We have 4 years and also 5 years. Like in architecture, it is 5 years. Law, 4 years. While diplomas have a minimum duration of 2 years. But there are diplomas of 3 years, like in health. Diploma in nursing science is 3 years. Certificates, the minimum duration for ordinary certificate is 2 years. A higher education certificate is 1 year. So do not confuse a higher education certificate with the ordinary certificate. A higher education certificate is for somebody who has gone up to A level, but you lack some few points to qualify you to be admitted to either a diploma or a degree. Note, you can use a higher education certificate to apply for a bachelor's degree or a diploma program, depending on how you perform. Certificate program for O-level leavers, duration 2 years. You can use this certificate to enroll for a diploma. Foreign institutions, National Council for Higher Education also equates qualifications from foreign institutions. Note, there are many unrecognized institutions outside there, and some even offer scholarships to lure you to enroll with them and advertise on the internet. Always check with the National Council for Higher Education before you enroll into these foreign institutions. Choice of careers and the people to consult. Choice of careers is influenced by A, grades obtained. You might be interested in doing medicine, but you have not got the grades needed for you to be admitted for medicine. So the grades matter. So you as a student, you should stay alert. B, interest. You must have interest. If you don't have interest in something, you are bound to relax. But with the interest, you can make it. There is a saying by Alan in his book. He clearly stated that if you cannot fly, you run. If you cannot run, you crawl. I mean, you walk. If you cannot walk, you crawl. But keep steady progress, you will be able to reach. Is that clear to everybody? Keep steady progress. Have a focus. You will be able to achieve your objective, your interest. See, opportunities for progression. Today, you have a chance to interact with a range of professionals. Ask them, if I take this course, what will it lead me to? Are there opportunities for career growth? Are these programs or courses on a market? There are some courses that are not on the market. So you need to consult the experts that you are going to meet. The market demand. What is that is needed on the market? We always talk to universities, to higher education institutions on program development. We tell them, for you to develop a program, you need to do what we call market analysis, needs analysis, to ascertain what is that which is needed. What is the gap? So based on that, we expect them to develop programs. But there are situations where institutions do copy and paste a program which is not on the market, is being submitted for accreditation, and as a result, it fails even to attract a single student. You know there is a problem. So you should guard against such courses. People to consult in career choice include professionals. Today, you are going to have a chance to meet the professionals. You are going to meet professors. You are going to meet doctors, accountants, lawyers. Talk to them. B, academicians such as professors. Talk to them. Teachers in charge of career guidance. Talk to these teachers. They have the knowledge. They will be able to guide you. D, parents, guardians, relatives. Today, you are going to meet some parents here. You are going to meet guardians. You are going to meet some of your relatives here. Talk to them. You will be able to see light. Funding of higher education. The cost, that is tuition and functional fees of academic programs, vary from program to program and from institution to institution. This cost is quite high. There are a number of funding options such as A, government-sponsored sponsorship. This is on merit and also on district quota. B, we have loans. For example, Higher Education Students Financing Board, called HESF, a government agency that provides loans to qualifying students. They have a stall there. Talk to them. How do I apply for this loan? How do I access it? Talk to them. C, scholarships, which are provided by various bodies, including institutions. For example, Makerere University has MasterCard for academically bright but economically disadvantaged students. So you also need to look at such. Contact, phone check. I know after this exhibition, you are going to have several queries. These queries can be answered through these contacts. Physical address, we are on plot M834 Kigobe Road, Chambogo, PO Box 76, Chambogo, Kampala. You can also reach us on telephone. Those are the lines we use. The simplest way of accessing us is C, via the email, info@unche.or.ug. When you send the email there, you will get a response from us. If you want to ascertain the status of an institution, whether it is recognized or not, you can visit our website, www.unche.or.ug. You will be able to see a list of the institutions that are recognized. You will be able to see even the programs that are accredited. If you find a program in red, it means it has expired. If you find a program in green, it means it is under review. If it is not highlighted, it means the program is okay, it is running. So those are some of the things that we expect you to know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. And if you feel you have some questions, feel free and raise your questions. Yes, David. Okay. I have been informed that this presentation is available on YouTube, Nche Uganda. So you can access it. David, you could move a microphone. They have questions. So feel free and raise your questions.
I wanted to ask, at the beginning of your presentation, you said that you were originally a teacher of biology and chemistry, then you turned to computer science.
Yes.
And then in our presentation, we saw various reasons why different careers are chosen and why someone will move from one career to another. So I'm interested in knowing why you changed from the teaching to computer science.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have had a question. In my introductory note, I did say I'm a teacher of chemistry and biology. Then I crossed to computer science. He's interested in knowing what made me change. If you followed my presentation well, somewhere I did mention of market demand. You see, as you are in a certain profession, you may find that it seems that profession has a career path, growth. So I changed it to computer science because I felt that when I joined that career, I will be able to grow. Indeed, I managed to grow because by then I was a diploma holder. Now I'm a PhD holder. Don't you see? Another question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How can I confirm that a university is recognized by the National Higher Education, by NCHE?
How can you confirm that the university is recognized? When you visit on our website, you will find a list of all recognized institutions together with the programs they are running. If you fail to ascertain whether it is recognized, just send us email or give us a call. Thank you. Another question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My question is about the scholarships. You talked about the scholarships.
Scholarships.
But Makerere offers scholarships. You talked about the MasterCard, but there are also government scholarships. So is the MasterCard related to the government scholarships?
They are not related. Government scholarships are completely different. They are on merit. You must have excelled. You must have performed slightly above the minimum. Yeah. Those who have passed very well, they are automatically picked during this computer selection. Yeah. So they are different from this other one. She still has something.
So also on MasterCard, you apply for the government scholarship.
You apply.
But it's Makerere in charge.
Yes. There is a hand there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my inquiry is those who want to offer like computer science, which department are they in, engineering or the other science stuff?
Those who offer computer science, are they in engineering or they are purely computer science? Unless it is computer engineering. Computer engineering is different from computer science. Bachelor of Computer Science, Bachelor of Computer Engineering.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So briefly, I would like you to narrate the do's and don'ts that can prevent someone from joining a university.
Pardon?
I request you to narrate the do's and don'ts that
The
can,
do's and the don'ts.
yes, that can prevent someone from joining a university.
Thank you. My friend is requesting me to outline the do's and the don'ts that can either hinder or help you be able to join a university. You know these do's. Work hard. Listen to your teachers. Do the right things. And you will be there. Then the other one is go and relax at school. Enjoy life. Organize, you'll be there organizing strikes. You will never smell the gates of a university. And you should also remember your creator. Remember your God. He will also guide you. Other reasons, you will discover them from your friends. Yes.
In your presentation, you only talked about the sciences.
Sciences.
You didn't talk about the humanities. For example, you mentioned people who are supposed to do medicine. You must have passed biology or chemistry. You didn't talk about maybe interior designing. You didn't talk about law.
My apology. You see, normally, in most cases, when you are doing things, you tend to be inclined to your background. A big apology. I should have also hinted, I should have balanced the boat. Sciences, the humanities. You see, for humanities, you know, what is your combination? Combination.
HDN stroke ICT.
Aha. You see, if your target is to become a lawyer, there are subjects that you concentrate on. Though I hear these days they are opening up, even somebody from the science background can do law. But in those days, there are particular subjects that you concentrate on. If you want to do things like BCom, you must do mathematics, economics. If you want to become a teacher of humanities, history, CRE, history, Islam, or religious studies, etc. I hope you have forgiven me for having inclined to sciences. Yeah. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In your presentation, you said that if you want to take medicine, that you have to be doing biology and chemistry in one sitting. What did you mean in one sitting?
In one sitting. What is your combination?
I do MEG.
MEG. So when you are sitting for, I hope you are listening. When you are sitting for your NEB exam, is there a possibility of you doing one subject and you leave the other two? You do all the three in that registration. That is what I'm referring to, one sitting. You have registered to do mathematics, economics, geography. So if you happen to pass two or all the three. You have got those principal passes in one sitting. That's what we refer to as one sitting. A scenario whereby maybe you registered for MEG this year, you got one principal pass, then again you try another luck, you get another one principal pass. Those are two different sittings. We don't accept that. We consider one sitting. Another question? There are many questions here. Let us finish this side. David, the hands are up. Yeah. So we shall come to your side.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
So yeah, I have a question, and okay, I'm inquiring if some of us do subjects, but okay, the like maybe you're not sure of the course you want, or you want a course that is not maybe related to the subjects you're offering. And so I was asking if you could guide us on maybe those open courses, whether I've done the subject or not, I could enroll for the course.
Thank you. You are taking a particular combination of subjects, but you are not sure of where is this combination leading me. It is one of the reasons why we have organized this exhibition. When you reach to these stalls, talk to those people in the stalls. I am doing this combination. Which course am I eligible? They will be able to take you through. Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
So in your presentation, you talked about the briefcase organizations.
Pardon?
You talked about the briefcase institutions.
Yes.
The fake
Yes.
organizations. So I have a question about that. If we are not going to be recognized after putting in our effort, spending the money, then why are they still functioning? Like,
Why can't they?
why are they still in operation? And also, does it mean that I'm going to have to go back to school after being scammed like this?
Okay, thank you. These briefcase institutions are like thieves. Not like thieves, they are thieves. Are we together? They are thieves. If you don't keep your money well and a thief takes it, who is to be blamed? You. So before you enroll in any institution, ascertain their status. For sure, you will waste your time, you will waste your money. Your qualification will never be recognized. The only solution is for you to go back to the drawing board and start afresh. So that's the reason why we have organized this exhibition, to create awareness in you such that you don't get trapped in such a situation. Are we together? Huh? I saw some hands here. David.
So like, if I'm doing biology, chemistry, in my combination without physics and maths, will I still be able to do medicine in a public university?
Pardon?
If I'm doing biology and chemistry.
Just a moment. We are receiving the chief guest. So we are stopping there for now, but we shall continue with those questions. Thank you.
Our chief guest, you are most welcome. The other side. Our chief guest, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, you are most welcome. And can we start with the anthems?
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Can I call the Deputy Executive Director of National Council as you take your seats, Reverend Canon Dr. Kagume, to lead us in the opening prayer.
Almighty God, We thank you so much for opportunity of meeting together at this meeting. We thank you for our chief guest. We thank you for National Council, for the Ministry of Education and Sports, and also for our country, Uganda, that you have kept us safe and also given us a bright morning. We pray that, Lord, you guide our universities, you guide our colleges, you guide all the students and all those who are here to show what they are doing in their respective work in higher education. Open our ears to listen to what is good, and oh Lord, open our eyes to the vision and innovation that is required to transform higher education in this country. Help us to focus on what is important for our sector and also for this higher education. May everything we see, Lord, and everything we hear, Lord, at this conference have a bearing the improvement of the quality and also of access of higher education in our country, Uganda. Bless us, Lord. Bless our chief guest. Bless all the universities and colleges and higher education institutions exhibiting today and their leaders. Give them the required vision and the required energy and also perspective to perform as required. Guide us, Lord. You know the things we do at this meeting with your most gracious favor, and support us, Lord, at this conference, that we begin it, we go through it, we end it with you to your honor and glory through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
We thank you very much. Our chief guest, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, you're most welcome to this 13th branded exhibition of National Council for Education. Our chief guest, I know the ED will do the introductory remarks, but allow me to inform you that where we are, we have a number of vice chancellors, and because of time, allow me to request them stand up for recognition. Vice chancellors, our dear vice chancellors, we don't take your coming for granted. Thank you. We have our chief guest, the council, which governs the National Council for Education, led by the acting vice chairperson, Professor Joy Kwesiga, whom I know you know very well, and the vice chancellor of Kabale University. Our chief guest, we have honored with the vice chairperson of Education and Sports. I know you know him very well, but Engineer Kasbat Abigaba is our regional supporter, and we ask him to continue supporting us. He came with his colleagues who will be introduced at a later time. Allow me to introduce a number of students who have also attended and our main stakeholders, and our ED will be able to mention them at an appropriate time so that those who have been honored to listen to you. Allow me to introduce our dear Executive Director of the National Council for Education, Professor Mary J.N. Okwakol. We do not take your leadership for granted, and we thank you for the support of this exhibition. I now take this honor, but I think before that, our chief guest, there is one of the higher education institutions, they should be able to make a small presentation, which will be able to usher in the ED to make introductory remarks. You're ready? That's a small presentation. Then our ED will be able to make introductory remarks. Over to you. Yeah. African Institute of Music, you deserve a bigger clap than that. Another bigger clap. Our chief guest, before I invite the Executive Director to make her introductory remarks, allow me to introduce important people for this exhibition, led by Professor George Chilia, Mr. Paul Charles from New Vision, Dennis Onvia. These are our judges on the exhibition store. Where are the other colleagues? Paul and the other judges stand up for recognition, and Dr. Ovia Chatwa. We don't take your work for granted. Our Executive Director, come and make your introductory remarks.
The Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Tayebwa, representing the Speaker of Parliament, Honorable members of Parliament present, the Acting Chairperson and members of Council, senior staff of the Ministry of Education and Sports, Vice Chancellors, and principals of higher education institutions, staff of the National Council for Higher Education, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the National Council for Higher Education, I welcome you all to this 13th Annual Higher Education Exhibition. And in a special way, I welcome our chief guest, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, but I will address him as Speaker for today. He's our Speaker, he's our chief guest. Under Section 5B of the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act of 2001, as amended, the National Council for Higher Education is mandated to promote and develop the processing and dissemination of information on higher education for the benefit of the people. The annual exhibition is one of the major events through which the Council disseminates information on higher education. The other major event is the annual conference. We held the 4th annual conference on the 14th and 15th of this month at Hotel Africana. This event is always conducted in the month immediately after release of the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education results by UNEB, and that is normally in March. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, a number of activities were affected. And among those activities affected is this one, because our activity calendar had to change. We also had to change the mode of exhibition. This year, we are having a blended exhibition, which means that it is partly physical and partly virtual. But last year, because of the conditions then, we had a purely virtual exhibition. The COVID-19 pandemic, which struck the world in 2020, paralyzed activities of all sectors, including the education sector, resulting in the closure of institutions of learning. This affected teaching, learning, and assessment of learners. In order to address the problem, the National Council for Higher Education developed the emergency open distance and e-learning guidelines so as to ensure continuity of teaching and learning during the pandemic lockdowns. The emergency ODEO guidelines required that institutions apply for permission to implement them. Regrettably, the majority of institutions were not approved to implement this system. In brief, we call it ODEL, because of various constraints, including affordability of internet and ICT equipment. We therefore request, Honorable Speaker, that Parliament intervenes by ensuring that costs of internet are affordable. Also, that nationwide internet connectivity covers even the hard to reach areas in the country, and ICT equipment are availed at subsidized cost for the purpose of promoting education. The Uganda Vision 2040 identifies ICT among the key fundamental tools in societal transformation and aims at increasing the national ICT infrastructure coverage and enhancing research, innovation, and development. It also identifies human capital development as one of the fundamentals that need to be strengthened to accelerate the country's transformation. Therefore, there is need to promote ICT in training human capital and in research and innovation. The theme of this year's exhibition, enhancement of teaching, learning, and assessment with open distance and e-learning, or DEL, in higher education, is appropriate. This year's exhibition aims at showcasing the capacities developed during the implementation of the emergency ODEL system. In addition, the exhibition will avail institutions and individuals an opportunity to share and disseminate their research findings and innovations in the teaching and research. Altogether, there are 63 exhibitors, and these include universities who constitute the majority. There are 39 altogether. They include other degree awarding institutions, and they include other tertiary institutions as well as companies. Honorable Speaker, you have seen these as you went around the stalls. 3 universities are exhibiting virtually. So the rest are exhibiting both virtually and physically. Honorable Speaker, as you have seen from the exhibitions, our institutions are ready to promote science, technology, innovation, and research. But research and innovation in higher institutions of education to flourish, it requires substantial investment by government. All these research, innovation require intensive investment. So government needs to invest. The budget allocations to research and innovation by institutions is very low. And this is because institutions are constrained financially. As the National Council for Higher Education, we highly recommend the establishment of a National Research and Innovations Fund. And we request that it be prioritized in the budget of the financial year 2023-2024. I also would like to add, Right Honorable Speaker, that this intervention was provided for in NDP 3. So we request that Parliament supports this very important intervention. Honorable Speaker, by 2020, out of 12,187 teachers, these include lecturers, tutors, and instructors, only 1,965 individuals who constitute 16.1% were PhD holders. The main cause of this is lack of funds to train people at PhD level. Right, Honorable Speaker, years back when we were studying, there was provision in the national budget for postgraduate studies. And those who were able to proceed to master's and PhD studies were supported. But when an animal which invaded us some years back called the structural adjustment, I think it was to do with the economic structural adjustment, that provision was scrapped, and that's why we are where we are. Those persons who can afford or who are able to get sponsorship from elsewhere do proceed to PhD. There is need to have more PhD holders in our institutions to conduct research and create new knowledge. We therefore request Parliament to appropriate funds for PhD training in order to increase the number of PhD holders. That category of persons is important in our institutions because of their training, they have the capacity to lead research projects or develop research projects or supervise postgraduate students and even undergraduate students. So these are very necessary in our institutions of higher learning. This exhibition is an avenue where institutions interact with the various stakeholders and provide information and showcase what they are doing. This information is important because it gives guidance to students and parents before they make choices of institutions and programs of study. It is our hope that our engagement at this 13th Higher Education Exhibition will provide an opportunity to reflect on our level of implementation of the Odell mode of delivery and come up with solutions that will address the challenges of implementing this system called Odell. We look forward to fruitful engagement with all stakeholders during the 3 days of this exhibition. At this juncture, Right Honorable Speaker, permit me on behalf of Council to make a token presentation to you. And before I make it, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that whatever is in there is related to our work as National Council for Higher Education. There is a T-shirt specifically branded for this exhibition. There is a copy of a tracer study report we do tracer studies to ascertain. Let me, sorry, Right Honorable Speaker. Okay, what I was saying is that what is here demonstrates the work of the National Council for Higher Education, and we are presenting them to you so that as you make laws that govern the National Council for Higher Education, especially as you allocate, you appropriate funds for National Council for Higher Education, you keep us in mind. So let me take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to invite the acting vice chairperson of the National Council for Higher Education to make her remarks. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you. The Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, the honorable members of Parliament present, and here I recognize the Vice Chairperson of the Education Committee, which is very relevant to us as universities, Engineer Abigaba, senior staff of the Ministry of Education and Sports, fellow vice chancellors and principals of higher education institutions of learning, staff of the National Council for Higher Education, other invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I take this opportunity to welcome you to the 13th Education Exhibition, an annual event of the National Council for Higher Education. In a special way, allow me to welcome you, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament of Uganda. Thank you for honoring our invitation and for sparing time for the National Council for Higher Education amidst your busy schedule. And I think we need to clap for the speaker, the time we spent going around the stalls. That was an additional interest into the exhibition. In addition, I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate you most heartily on your election to the very important office of Deputy Speaker, a channel which helps you to serve the country. I bring greetings from the chairperson of the council, Professor Eli Katunguka Rwachaya, who is also the Vice Chancellor of Kyambogo University. He's currently out of the country, and as his Vice Chairperson, officiating on his behalf. Our chief guest, the council is established by the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act to regulate and guide the establishment and management of institutions of higher education and higher learning, to equate qualifications and advise government on all matters of higher education. As the council, we are required under section B, 5B, to promote and develop the processing and dissemination of information on higher education for the benefit of the people. We apply many channels to achieve this, and one of them is this annual higher education exhibition. As highlighted by the Executive Director, Council has set minimum standards for open distance learning, or DEL, before COVID-19 outbreak, although its adaptation was still low at that time. Consequently, during the COVID-19 period, the emergence of DEL system became a strategy adopted to guide institutions to continue with the teaching, learning, and assessment during the pandemic. The National ICT Policy 2016, among others, aims at supporting human resource development and capacity building through facilitating broadband access to all citizens and to ensure broadband connectivity of all public facilities by 2020, which was passed, ensuring availability of resources to support the development of ICT infrastructure and accessibility countrywide, and facilitating ICT-based delivery systems for education. Unfortunately, this is yet to be achieved. As the Council calls upon institutions to focus on virtual learning, there is need also for the government of Uganda, to support these institutions by putting up infrastructure that supports virtual learning, having a nationwide internet connectivity, and having a policy to subsidize ICT equipment to enable institutions and students utilize this system. I think I need to emphasize the issue of subsidy for equipment because, for instance, students actually need subsidy in order to acquire computers. That's one example. The executive director has also highlighted on some of the challenges virtual learning is facing today, but allow me to focus on other challenges which are hindering the National Council for Education in the implementation of its main duties, including the implementation of DEL. So these other challenges, Honorable Speaker, is first and foremost, the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act was amended in 2006, and as of now, many things have changed within the landscape of higher education. However, we are still using the old act to achieve higher education in a new landscape. As the old saying goes, this is like putting new wine into old bottles. This has created loopholes that the lawyers call lacuna within the law. Secondly, the other challenge is the birth of other agencies which come with their own acts. This has also created the issue of overlapping mandates for the council and hence the duplication of roles, which sometimes inconvenience the institutions that we regulate as a council. There are several of these which I want to go in details about because of lack of time. Thirdly, the funding allocated to the National Council for Education is not enough for it to hire enough staff and to handle its mandate. The executive director has talked about this, but Right Honorable Speaker, you can imagine regulation, how they have to go around all these tertiary institutions, universities, and be able to monitor. It is a lot of work, but they don't have enough funds. Then fourthly, there is also the additional function of equating qualifications during national election periods. And the council does this without additional funds to handle election processes and subsequent litigations on election petitions. And I think this is relevant to you, Right Honorable Speaker, because this is your constituency. As a council, we therefore request you, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, one, to fast track the amendment of the act to address the emerging issues in higher education, in the higher education subsector, and to redefine the mandate of the National Council for Higher Education and other related agencies. to increase funding, that's number 2 of our request, to increase funding of the National Council for Higher Education, especially funding to enable the council recruit more staff and monitor performance of institutions. Additional funding is also required to cater for elections in the same way that other agencies that are involved in the handling of elections-related cases or processes do during the election time. On a different note, I would like to call upon institutions which are under the council and which are exhibiting to learn from one another, because different institutions are at different levels of implementing ODERA and other things. So let's take this opportunity to learn from one another. I also wish to encourage all the guests over the coming 3 days to take keen interest in assimilating what is on offer and support the institutions to get more students and serve efficiently. As I thank you once again for agreeing to officiate at this important event, I now take this opportunity to invite the Deputy Chair of the Education Committee to take the opportunity to invite you to this exhibition. I thank you all for God and my country.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Thomas Taibwa, the honorable members of Parliament who are present, the acting chairperson of council and all council members here present, the executive director of the National Council for Higher Education, your deputy and staff, the vice chancellors and principals of institutions who are present, dear parents who may be in the house. I've seen a number of students, all of you invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. This is not my day. I'm only here to invite the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker to speak to us, but before he comes, I want to warmly welcome him. Right Honorable, you are most welcome to this venue. And I want to thank you for passionately supporting education. Even before you became Speaker of Parliament, you were very passionate about education issues. So I want to appreciate you. And your attendance today, we know how busy Parliament is. You've really put aside time to be with us, so we want to appreciate. Allow me to thank the National Council for Higher Education for organizing this exhibition. It's the first time I'm attending such, and I'm realizing that maybe some of us came to where we are by the grace of God and actually by luck, because we never had opportunity to have this kind of exhibitions and be able to make meaningful decisions. But we are where we are by God's grace. My teacher, Professor Rugujo, is here. I remember the first day in our lecture, he asked me the school I was coming from. When I mentioned Kigeza High School, he said, you may not manage engineering, but I managed to make it very well. So I want to thank the various universities who have come to showcase your capacities. We're very much grateful. But in a special way, I want to appreciate the National Council for Higher Education for closely working with us, the Committee of Parliament responsible for the sector and for always involving us. I am here because I was invited together with two colleagues of the committee. The Honorable Dorothy Nyakato Zibonera is a woman member of Parliament from Chitagwenda, member of the committee, and the Honorable Paparu Lilian Obiale, member of Parliament for Arua District. So we are here to represent the committee. So as a committee responsible, we promise and we shall continuously support the council to deliver on your mandate through appropriation of the corresponding funds, but also through appropriate legislation. So we request from National Council, our request is one, that help us and rigorously and jealously ensure that quality of our products, of our education system is not compromised. There are some complaints within the region, so we have high hopes in you that you'll do everything necessary to ensure that we keep churning out quality products of our education system. Without wasting more time, allow me to take this singular honor and the great opportunity to invite my boss, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, to come and address the congregation. I thank you.
I'm happy to see students, especially because when you see young people, you know you're addressing the future. The Vice Chairperson, Committee on Education, and the colleague members of Parliament, the Vice Chairperson of the National Council for Higher Education, the Executive Director, Professor, and your team, Vice Chancellors present, students, exhibitors, our beautiful. I'm a fan of orchestras and opera, so I was the biggest beneficiary. And I didn't know we had such in Uganda, so I'll be getting your contacts so that I always attend your concerts. And I'll be getting your card, your contacts, so that I can be attending your concerts, because I'm a very huge fan, very, very huge. I bring you greetings from the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. Our work schedule is extremely tight, but we share duties. So from the rota, when you send us invitations for us in Parliament, it reaches the clerk allocates. Whether you've called the deputy, the speaker can go. Where you've called the speaker, the deputy can go. You know, that's how we work in Parliament because of there's so many competing demands and schedules that we do have. But she called me today morning to extend her appreciation for the invitation. And thank you for holding her in high regard. I'm pleased to be with you today, officially open the 13th annual higher education exhibition. I want to appreciate the National Council for Higher Education for this innovation of holding a blended exhibition, which has enabled those that are unable to physically attend participate. I also thank the participants, exhibitors, students, parents, policymakers, and members of the public for turning up to support this event. Parliament associates itself with the National Council for Education in many ways. First of all, we have very many members of Parliament who only got the chance to be nominated after approval by the National Council. So that's very, very important. And thank you for approving our members. But number two, because of our duty as a legislature, where we make laws and we also appropriate every single coin that the National Council uses, is appropriated by us. And of course, they again report back to us through the Committee for Education. And so far, I haven't received any complaints as the presiding officer. Many people knock on my door, trying to lobby for help in terms of sorting out their problems. But for Professor and team, they only knock lobbying for more support, which is very easy for me compared to coming to defend you, you've misappropriated funds and all that, which I find difficult. So I want to congratulate you on that. With the corruption level that we do have in many government institutions, you should be congratulated. The theme for this year's exhibition, which is enhancement of teaching, learning, and assessment with open distance e-learning or DEL in higher education, speaks to what the 10th Parliament struggled with in April 2020. One of the critical matters we handled then was that of online examinations during COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, when all institutions of learning were closed. Members of Parliament were divided on whether institutions should conduct examinations during the lockdown or not. Much as it was an innovation by some institutions, it was argued that it was going to leave out many students who are not able, for one reason or the other, to sit for examinations. I want to appreciate National Council for Higher Education for developing the emergency or DEL system that catered for, among others, proper conduct of online examinations by institutions of higher learning. I also thank the institutions that work with National Council for Higher Education during the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure that there was continued teaching and learning like our counterparts in the developed world. Back to the exhibition, this annual event is important to the sector of higher education because it is an avenue through which National Council for Education fulfills its mandatory function of disseminating information on higher education for the benefit of the public and being accountable to the public. We need government institutions to be accountable to the public because sometimes you're doing very good work. The money we allocate you is money from the public, but you don't account to the public. So this way, these students now can appreciate where taxes of their parents are going. So thank you, National Council for Education, for indeed fulfilling the mandate. I have toured the stalls and appreciated the research and innovations by the higher institutions of learning. We want to thank National Council for ably guiding these institutions to reach this level and for controlling the quality of output. I call upon all partners to support these institutions in their research work, especially when it comes to commercialization of innovations. I urge government, and we shall work with government, with the executive as Parliament, to plan for research in institutions during the budgeting process, because one of the major hindrances to research is the lack of funds for research and training of researchers at PhD level, as raised by Professor. In the last budget, we gave Makerere 30 billion for research. From 20 billion, we were 20, then Kasba. We were 20, we increased it to 30. We considered 3 billion for each public university. I want to go and confirm because Professor Joy was telling me they received 1 billion. It's the beginning, but at least we've begun. Because we were just relying on external research. And the moment you rely on external research, then those external funders will set the agenda. And usually their agenda is not Uganda. Their agenda is their problems. I have been to some of the top universities. I was at Johns Hopkins, and that's where I was told that Makerere University has the #1 tropical disease institute in the whole world. And that's where I found labs for Zika virus, labs for Ebola. How many Ugandan universities have labs for Ebola? But Ebola is not in America. Ebola is in Uganda. You know, Ebola is in Uganda. So we must prioritize research for these universities so that we are able to influence their areas of research, so that we are able to get tailor-made solutions for Uganda's problems. We cannot depend on USAID, we cannot depend on NORAD, we cannot to design research that is for Uganda. No way, no way. And I want to appreciate the president in this aspect, because the president has been at the center of supporting local research, but we said, let's institutionalize it. And I'm happy now we have the Minister for Science and Technology, which we are supporting. But the problem with the Ugandans is research results of that nature. We need to be patient. But when people give you 1 billion, they want results tomorrow. Now, they want results tomorrow. Not knowing, recently I took a team of investors to the president, and they are going to be processing banana stems. They are going to set up a factory of $150 million in Mbarara to process banana stems, to get liquid fertilizer, to get cloth, to get energy. But they told the president that they have funded this research for 12 years. They have been researching for 12 years. Now for us, when we appropriate only 1 billion, we want results tomorrow. So I will talk to my colleagues to be patient with the researchers, to be patient so that we support you more, we give you time to innovate, innovations that can be implemented. So you can rely on us, Professor, in terms of funding research. Every year we've committed as Parliament that we shall push the executive. Every year we increase funding for research. And to me, this research shouldn't only be for public universities. It should also be extended to private universities. You know? We can start with chartered public universities, okay? But we extend it to public universities. When you look at the work UCU is doing, where they have invested, now they've gone for engineering, isn't it? UCU has gone for engineering, they've gone for medicine. Then you look at it. I personally have 5. Can you sanitize this? I personally I personally have 5 students at Ndejje University from Mitoma. And why? The marks needed for being admitted for engineering at Makerere University or Chambogo, no? And you've studied from Mitoma, where I come from, it's so difficult. I grew up in a village. I don't have any OB. In fact, recently I located one in UNRA. Yeah. I located one in UNRA recently who is in government. I can't even dare to say in Kampala we celebrate, we hold,
you call them jubilee or what? Reunions for my primary or secondary schools. We shall be 2 people. Some are riding border borders, I will get. Mine are in Mitoma. But I'm a deputy speaker of the country. Such a poor school. So if schools in Mitoma can produce a deputy speaker, why can't they produce engineers? You know, it's because we've not been given opportunities. We've not been given opportunities, the yardstick. And that brings me to the dialogue which I want to request National Council for Higher Education to spearhead. The dialogue on funding for government sponsorship, whereby it will go. I've seen, are there students of Namdiango? I saw Namdiango entering. These are the guys who are going to benefit. Their parents are already rich. Now, me, when I came, and allow me students to give you my story. When I joined Makerere on private sponsorship, I was given 450,000 for upkeep. 250,000, I paid school fee, I paid hostel. This was 2001. Okay? I paid hostel 250,000 at Interline near Kubiri. I went, I deposited 100,000 in Chikumi for meals for a whole semester. Chikumi, you would eat, each portion was 100 shillings. So that's why we could call it Chikumi. Then I remained with some little money, but of course in between, and of course if you're eating in Chikumi and you have a deposit, it means you can never take a girlfriend out. So our dating time, I could ensure I exclude lunch or dinner because it would encroach on my plan for a whole semester. At least you would do black tea out of benching, what we call benching at campus. And you could reach a time when money is finished and you survive on 100 shillings. And how could we do it? You would buy posho of 100 shillings and then soup for free. They give you posho for 100 and soup for free. But it wasn't soup, of course, it was water. I think they were washing meat and you could feel some taste, you know, some scent of meat. But it wasn't. You could feel enough salt, enough water, and then some little scent of meat. And then it is soup for free. But when we went on to the political arena and I presented my manifesto to students from Kisubi, from Ubudo, from Harvard, from where? I managed the victor to be number 5 in the hierarchy of this government. So it means the moment you give opportunities, you open opportunities for all. Anyone can be anything. So why do we continue? Why should now a son of Tayebwa study at Makerere on government sponsorship? Why? Because he has capacity. I have capacity to take my son to Namdiango. I have there a son at Namdiango, Maka Mugisha. So I have there a son. He will do well. He has capacity to go for government sponsorship. I have a son at Kisubi. The money I pay at Namdiango or the money I pay at Kisubi in a year is higher than the money I would pay at Makerere as school fees. So if I was affording it in secondary, you want to say I can't afford it at university? Why should my son continue to benefit? Yet I know that the higher chances for benefiting came as a result of my son having exposure and studying in the best schools, which poor people in Mitoma couldn't afford, or in Karamoja. So, National Council for Higher Education, I implore you to start this dialogue, and Chairman of Committee on Education. I will also take it up to the higher level so that government sponsorship is for those who cannot afford, not for those who can afford. We can see a way of Professor Kwakora and team can work on a formula of protecting students on some courses, reserving, some of the positions for students who can afford, like medicine, like engineering, like we have another merit system whereby such a students of the rich can go and pay for themselves. But we should get half of this money, we add on to district quota system, then half of it into student loan scheme, so that we can support universities like Ndeje, which have invested, like ISBA, which have invested heavily in science and technology. To me, that's the kind of dialogue we need to be having as a country. And I hope we can take it serious. So, but Professor, lead us. You're the expert. The council, Professor Kwesiga, lead us. You're the experts in higher education. But these are issues which I know are leading to the continuous inequality we are having in this country. And that's why you're having many mushrooming universities trying to cater for that lower cadre, lower class, which you've not been able to help. Also, you've talked about the issue of internet. Yes, internet, for now, I remember we were engaging when I was in the cabinet. A speaker doesn't sit in the cabinet. When I was a minister is when I sat in the cabinet. So you can see I'm already retiring at 41 years. I'm already missing out on some of the opportunities. When I was in cabinet, this is an issue which the president held dear to his heart. And of course, the cost current is an average of $70 megabytes per second. And the target of government is to put it half. But I want to thank the universities for organizing yourselves. I have been a member of Makerere University Council for 12 years. So I have so much knowledge. But I want to thank initiatives you've organized yourselves, like RENU. I think through RENU, you have been able to put down the cost of internet as universities. I hope RENU also accepts private universities so that it can support them. Yeah. But also, we must have a policy as government, and Chairman Education Committee, I give you this assignment, of zero rating education websites. We need, there are services which telecom companies and internet service providers are making a lot of money out of us sending our photos of nyege nyege, dancing pakachini and all that. Now, part of the profit, let it be seeded to helping the education sector. That's an investment. That's an investment. So we need to push for a policy of zero rating of education and educative websites. You access them internet free, because not everyone can afford MBs. These students, when we give them MBs, they use them on Twitter, on TikTok. So as they use TikTok, they should remember when the MBs are done, don't throw away the phone. My 4.5 years child already knows TikTok. The Z generation, So we need to look at zero rating. And I have already shared this with the Minister of ICT and the Executive Director, UCC, to make education easy. But also sharing of content, especially e-libraries. I don't know why public universities, both public and private, you need to have a forum like how you created the RENU, okay? To subscribe to e-libraries and you share. Yeah, you share. Why should Ndege have its own e-library, Makerere its own e-library? You know, and yet it's unlimited access for a number of students. It's but its own e-library. Why not, you know, contribute resources depending on the number of students you have, and then you share the e-library. Maybe, Professor, you need to come in, like how we did for the financial management system, okay, which we have. I've forgotten this one, developed at Chambogo. AIMS, like how we did for AIMS. Now all public universities are using AIMS. You know, even private have started. But I remember Makerere, we were using, I think, IRIS and ITS. No, at first we were using ITS. We had a system from South Africa, okay, which was very expensive. Now, the money alone you are using on ITS was enough to do what AIMS is doing. So you public universities, private universities come together and know that the only way you will benefit the competitive world is cutting costs by working as a team. Don't work in silos. Don't work in silos. You face the same problems, whether you're private, whether you are public. So work as a team, bring down the costs of doing business, and then you'll be able to move forward. With those very, very many words, I want to reassure the National Council for Education of support. Since I've come here, my coming usually is not in vain. I don't attend every event I'm invited to. I can have 100 invitations, I pick 1 or 2. So usually I'm very picky, because otherwise I would be running around event after event after event after event. I would be an events manager of some sorts. So I promise you support. Chairman, you'll come to my office. We look through the ministerial policy statement of National Council for Education, and we see the gaps. We allocated you 5 billion so that you can get out of the annex and you start construction, because that annex does not give us a good image. I know most likely you're going to receive some of the money in the second quarter, because in this first quarter, we are managing very many issues. So government releases were limited. On the issue of the law, yes, I know. I think it is like since 2007. Yes, since 2007, we have been grappling with that law. I'm going to bring it to the attention of the minister, because very many reports have been made. I don't know why we cannot amend this law. For us, you bring it to Parliament, I can promise you, the day you bring it, in 45 days, you will have your law processed. It won't delay. But now what I'm going to do is to push the executive, ensure that indeed, because I know there are efforts from private members, have it amended. But I wouldn't, it's a very important law, which I would want government to spearhead, not just a private member. And also, when a private member brings a law, is limited by Article 93 of the Constitution, because whatever clause he brings in, it cannot have a charge, a direct charge on the consolidated fund. Now, if you have such a law, which you're going to overhaul, and you cannot talk about issues of funding, then you wouldn't have done a good job. That's why we've left the government to do it. But I can promise you, I'm going to bring it to the attention of the Minister for Education
to ensure we can expedite the process. I know she's been working on it, and it's part of the legislative agenda for the second session, which the president presented before Parliament in the State of the Nation address. Finally, students, I'm happy I've seen many of you here, especially the girl child and our young people. Uganda is a country which some people have tried to depict as if opportunities are for a few, as if you only succeed through know-who. And we've created the culture of government at Yambe. So someone has even sent me a video today. Someone saying, this rain, banene. How can it rain from morning to evening? Government at Yambe, chino chirima banene. So we need government intervention. The rain is too much. Government intervene. How can it rain from morning to evening? Some people must be behind this rain. So we need government intervention. That's a kind of culture we have created. But I want to assure you that that's not what is happening. All of you, you have opportunities. We have potential presidents here. You know? We have potential speakers, we have potential prime. Look at the current after the president. From the president, by the way, then you go below. You'll find none of us went through schools like Kampala parents. None. Yeah, because when you go through the good schools, you feel, you know, your parents are doing well. You feel it's okay. You're not hungry. Now, me, when I came to Kampala in 2001, my first time to step in Kampala was 2001, going to Makerere, carrying my tin case. And I reached in the park, I got confused. Because all cars looked the same, all buildings looked the same. You're from Mitoma, you've never seen a storied house. So everything looks the same. And I managed to go to Makerere. What I said, I will never go back to the village. So my level of hunger is different from yours, who are always in Kampala, seeing the good things. You must be hungry for success. You must. And what is so puzzling is, in Africa, it's children of the rich who are failing. But in the developed world, it's children of the rich who are even growing richer. You know, I don't know whether it's out of parenting. So I want you colleagues not to make the same mistake. You must know that studying from a good school is not a license to success. It will require discipline, it will require hard work, and it will require you being hungry for more success than your parents. Your father giving you a car to drive around during a holiday. You know, I go out, I find young people outspending me. You have money. Then there is this, is it bars, teens, awards, and what? You're drinking the alcohol I can't afford. And yet I have more money than you. You need to start saving now. You need to have a culture of knowing that the future is not easy because your father worked hard, or because your mother worked hard, or because you're from a good school. If you don't do that, students from Mitoma are going to overtake you. Those who will come to Kampala late are going to own it. And you will sell your father's property to them. Yeah. That's the unfortunate bit of it. So I felt, since I've met you, Professor, I'm sorry for diverting, going beyond the exhibition, but since I got these beautiful and good-looking students, I felt I should share with them that working hard is very, very important. Whether your father is successful or not,
working hard is very important, because maintaining and sustaining wealth is even more difficult than creating it. I thank you. Oh, I forgot one task. I hereby declare the exhibition open.
I think our Deputy Speaker, Chief Guest, Right Honorable Thomas Taiyewa, deserves a bigger clap than that. Our Chief Guest, you are just God sent to this occasion. The students who have benefited, the beauty about it, this function is live and it's also streaming on YouTube. Therefore, other schools, you can be able to pick it up. What a wonderful day. What a wonderful speech. Down to us, connecting to all of us. Deputy Speaker, we appreciate you. We thank you for the support you have continued to give and you have promised to give the National Council. We don't take it for granted. We thank you for your time. We thank you for your own examples. You know, most of the time we give speeches quoting other people, but giving a speech quoting your own example, which some of us are privileged to know. Can we give him another big clap? We thank you, Edie, for inviting such a guest of honor. He's a befitting guest of honor. At this moment, as we conclude, I request Dr. Kagume, your deputy, to hand over the gifts to the chairperson, because he has a task of reminding the speaker and also the members of parliament of the committee. The gifts are here, Amina, so that they can be able to do it. Now we are going to finalize. And I will ask two people to stand up for recognition of our chief guest, Dr. Nora Murira, the chair of this exhibition, and George Pine. Can you stand up and we clap for you? We are going to have, I don't see them. Oh, Nora is there, and George. Thank you very much. Our chief guest, we are having the anthems led by African Institute of Music, now an ODI. You can get a degree in that beautiful music. Over to you. Thank you, and our guests' refreshments are going to be served.
Thank you so much. We want to call upon the students to remain behind. Somebody is going to attend it to you. Those have not been attended to before we move to the exhibition, to the exhibition hall. We take you through a number of things like National Council for Higher Education. But in the meantime, be receiving the water as we prepare to make the environment suitable for being attended to. I will introduce you Dr. Omoda Onyait, who is going to lead us in this. You're welcome, Dr. Okay, there are those who were here before and they were through with the presentation, but we're now in the question and the answer session, isn't it? Let's finish up with those ones. The rest you can stay behind. After your question is, then you move the other side, then we attend to the group which came later. Thank you.
You assist me move the microphone. Yes, dear students. Can we have 5, 6 questions before we conclude? 5, 6 questions. We're on this side. Some members still had some questions. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My previous question was like, if I'm doing biology and chemistry, but I'm not doing physics and maths, will I still be able to get a position for medicine at a public university?
Thank you. You remember in my presentation, I did say for you to be admitted to any health-related course, you must have got a principal pass in biology and chemistry. So if you have passed biology and chemistry to the level that can allow you be admitted for medicine, you will be admitted. Mathematics and physics are not key. It is chemistry and biology that are key. Thank you. Another question? David. Another question? Can you speak louder? I'm not speaking.
So my question is, if someone sits you, okay, if I sit my national examinations and then maybe this year I get points that I'm not happy with, and then I decide to go back. And after going back, maybe if I had gotten 15 points, the other time I sit, I get 12 points. If I'm going to enroll for university, can I use the points I wasn't happy with at first after failing my second time?
The answer is yes. In your first attempt, you got 20 points, but you were not happy with the 20 points. You tried your second chance, and you happen to have got lower points, lesser points. you are free to go back to use the better points that you got. That is it. Thank you. Another question?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I enroll into an institution, and let me say I've taken law, but as I go into law, I feel it's not the course for me, and to change. Yet I've already paid the tuition for law. Do I just stop up, or I repay the tuition for the other course that I'm taking?
The question is, initially you enrolled for law, you registered for it, you paid for it. Then on the way, you changed your mind. You crossed to another course. You are starting afresh, so you have to pay. You have to register, pay, and register. That is it.
But Dr. Nyait, probably the university will have a policy. Usually, universities have policies through which courses are changed. We call them programs, but you call them courses. So there are usually policies. They clearly detail how you change from one program to another and the associated costs. So when you get to those stores, you can ask at the university, the academic registrars will be there. I'm sorry I had to come in, but I'm Mary Innocent Mwesiga Simwe. I work with Dr. Nyait.
I have two questions. Question number one, to go for government scholarship, are all level results considered?
Continue to question two.
Question two, can I take two courses at university at a go?
Thank you. You can answer. Mary,
Sure,
you
to
can
go to
answer.
university, all level results are considered and they carry a certain percentage. There is a guideline on what, for instance, the distinction carries and what the credit carries or the pass. And then together with the A-level results, you combine them and they contribute to the program that you desire to pursue. About taking two programs, like I said, these universities have their policies. Do you want to take them in the same university or in a different university? But what could happen is that the programs are hectic. One, you'll be overburdened. You may be overburdened. But two, they may also collide. Unless you're going to do maybe a Bachelor of Medicine and then a diploma, but there is what they usually call a load that you are supposed to take on. So ideally, you should take on one program. Do that and then finish it and do another. But probably Dr. Nyait can guide more.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. The question is, can I enroll for two programs at the same time? Mary has given you the answer. If it is in the same university, you might get some challenges. If you are enrolling in two different programs in different universities, it can be possible, but there are courses that are too demanding to the extent that you may either fail all the courses or just pass one. So my advice to you is, why don't you settle on one course, finish the course, pass it highly, Then you can move to either at master's level, move to a related field and do your master's, such that you'll be of a higher qualification than you getting 2 qualifications at the same level. That is my advice to you.
My question is, you've been talking about entering into the university via government scholarships.
Yes.
Do they only consider academic merit, or there are other factors that they can consider to get the government scholarship other than only academics?
Thank you. There are other factors like sports. Sports also are considered. If you have excelled and it is recognized, you can also be taken through that avenue. Yeah.
And maybe Dr. Nyai to add, there's what we call affirmative action. We have previously had the 1.5 points for girls joining universities on top of what boys are taken for. But we also have what is called the district quota. The district quota allows 5 students per district. From there, like the ones Honorable Taiwa was talking about at the district level, you can benefit from that. You can benefit from where there are policies on disability. But some of these policies are university policies, okay? But the district quota and sports and the disability are government policies. So those are some of the other avenues you can benefit from.
Can we have 2 questions, one from this side, one from this side, and we conclude?